Welcome to the Design Thinking for SnapEd series. My name is Claire Sadigzadeh, and I'm an evaluation specialist with the Food, Fitness, and Opportunity Research Collaborative at UNC Center for Health Promotion and Disease Prevention. This series is comprised of 4 short videos intended to introduce SnapEd implementing agencies to design thinking, mindsets, and methods. The first video provides an introduction into why design thinking might be helpful for SnapEd and what it is. The second helps us begin identifying the assumptions driving your design challenge or potential intervention idea. The third helps you adopt key mindsets when beginning to prototype, including what and how to prototype. And the final video provides some ideas for how to use data throughout prototyping to encourage and support iterations. Each video will build on the previous one, and we will offer a call to action at the end of each video to help you move your ideas into action. We hope you'll take this time to pause and reflect on the content in your own work. So grab a pen and paper or a colleague and let's get started. After completing this video series, you will be able to define design thinking and name the key design thinking mindsets. You'll also be able to explain how design thinking tools and techniques can help advance SnapEd reach and impact towards equity. You'll also understand how to move an idea forward using prototyping methods and or testing methods. And you'll know where to go to find more information and continue learning. This series of training videos grew from our own work engaging caregivers of young children who are SNAP eligible. We convened over 30 caregivers for virtual design workshops to learn about which interventions or how we can make the food shopping experience easier for them to find and purchase healthy foods. This work culminated in a guide that you see here that offers the ideas that they presented, as well as feedback and intervention implementation tips from food retail stakeholders, as well as SnapEd implementing agencies. The food retail guide also includes a testing template to help you move these ideas into prototyping and testing in your own context. So we encourage you to grab the guide using the link or the QR code below, as well as the testing template, which we'll use in subsequent videos. So let's jump into the first video. What is design thinking and why might you use it? In public health, we often begin by assembling experts or conducting a literature search to define a problem and ultimately design a tailored solution for the people experiencing this problem. However, this approach can lead us to developing a problem that is not the right fit, or it may cause unintended negative impacts during implementation and scale-up because we've excluded the people experiencing the problem during the problem definition and design phase. This process may waste or divert precious time and resources, create distrust between public health practitioners and the communities that we're serving, and it can linger over the course of many months or years to actually move anything into practice. Design thinking offers a complementary set of tools and methods to public health approaches. IDEO.org offers one approach to design thinking with 3 distinct phases: inspiration, ideation, and implementation. As you can see, this process begins with divergent thinking, where we are encouraged to collect a lot of data, have lots of conversations with people, including our intended users, and ultimately allowing yourself and your team to be open to new ways of knowing and learning. The idea is that over time, we experience moments of divergent and convergent thinking, or when we bring it all together, to refine and test our solution. This can lead to solutions or interventions that have a lot of the kinks worked out by the time you are ready for implementation and scaling. So what can design thinking offer SnapEd implementing agencies? First, it offers tools and processes to work as a team to learn about and center your users' needs and experiences throughout this process. It also provides methods for engaging implementation partners in the planning and testing of your ideas to identify barriers and opportunities to implementation. And lastly, it provides moments and opportunities to reflect on your intention throughout the process to ensure decisions are rooted in the expressed needs and desires of your user. These moments of reflection can also be used to assess how your solution might be working towards equity or not, and how you might be able to shift power to your users throughout this process. Design thinking also encourages us to embrace new ways of thinking. These mindsets are just as important to the process as the actual tools and methods. Design thinking invites us to privilege curiosity and learning over knowing, to remain open to a variety of potential solutions, including fighting back or pushing back against this tendency to think there's one right way to do it. It encourages us to engage with empathy and authenticity with the people who are the focus of our potential program or solution. And lastly, to foster a willingness to adapt your idea as you test and receive feedback. Human-centered design starts with a focus on empathy, listening and striving to understand the root of a design challenge from the perspective of those experiencing it. And we also want to emphasize the importance of developing and nurturing authentic, collaborative relationships with people engaged in this work. Make sure to take time for relationship building, especially in the beginning of your project, to ensure people feel comfortable providing feedback and feel safe working with you. This series is designed to help you move an emerging solution or intervention into implementation through the process of testing, or what we'll call prototyping. This happens as you are leaving ideation with key stakeholders and your primary audience and entering implementation, aka figuring out how to make your idea and solution work in the real world. As you can see, there are still some kinks or learning cycles that need to occur before you arrive at a user-centered and tested solution that is viable, feasible, and desirable. Prototypes are fast, flexible models of key elements of your solution, or rough drafts. And testing prototypes allows us to identify and test assumptions under real-world context and conditions. It helps us collect feedback from our primary audience and implementation partners on the desirability of your solution. And it allows us to quickly and cheaply adjust our solution based on this feedback. Testing prototypes can feel uncomfortable and counterintuitive to our normal ways of operating and doing business. Before you launch into using these methods, it's helpful to examine our own thought patterns and behaviors so we can be mindful of how they may support or hinder this process. Two main features of prototyping are captured in this quote. Small is good, small is all, the large is a reflection of the small, and never a failure, always a lesson. Design thinking encourages us to test small pieces of our idea quickly to learn and ultimately to fail fast as a way to learn and improve what we're doing. So before we begin, we would like you to take 5 minutes now to reflect on one or some of these questions. Grab a piece of paper and pen or open a blank Word document. The questions help us build self-awareness about how we're entering into this work and help us tap into our own empathy about why design thinking might be helpful. The questions are, when did you have to use something that didn't think about your needs in the design process? How did this make you feel? How can you ensure you are thinking about your users in your own process? And lastly, how might discomfort arise in yourself and your team in this process, and how might you be able to work through it? So I will encourage you to pause the video now and take 5 minutes to reflect on these questions before we wrap up. We hope that time was useful and generative. that it helped you ground in this process and your own purpose for engaging in design thinking with SnapEd. And if you have questions, please feel free to email us at designforsnaped@unc.edu. The next video will walk you through how to start identifying assumptions in your own problem statement and design, and help you keep refining these mindsets and methods throughout the way. Thank you.